The Cathari homeworld of Nix Prime existed in perpetual twilight, orbiting a dying red dwarf star that cast only the faintest crimson glow across its surface. For millions of years, the Cathari had evolved in this dim environment, developing extraordinary hearing and an acute sense of smell to navigate their shadowed realm. Their large, sensitive eyes could detect the slightest variations in the weak starlight, but anything beyond a few meters remained shrouded in impenetrable darkness. Commander Zethkar stood on the observation deck of the orbital defense platform, gazing down at his world with pride. The Cathari had built their civilization in the shadows, constructing vast underground cities connected by networks of tunnels that spanned continents. Their technology was advanced, their society peaceful, and most importantly, they were invisible to the galaxy at large. "Sir, we're detecting an anomalous energy signature at the edge of our system," reported Lieutenant Velnara from her station. Her voice carried the typical whistling undertones of the Cathari language, an evolution that helped them communicate in the dark caves of their ancestors. Zethkar's elongated ears twitched with concern. Classification: unknown, sir. The signature is unlike anything in our databases. It's bright. Very bright. The concept of brightness was relative to the Cathari. Their instruments could detect electromagnetic radiation across many spectrums, but they had never encountered a species that relied heavily on visible light. To them, most of the galaxy seemed as dark and quiet as their own world. "Maintain observation protocols," Zethkar commanded. "If it approaches our outer perimeter, alert the Council." Hours passed as the mysterious signature grew stronger. The Cathari defense fleet, hidden in the asteroid fields and dark matter clouds surrounding their system, remained undetected. Their ships were painted in light-absorbing materials and generated minimal heat signatures. For centuries, this strategy had protected them from the various conflicts that plagued the galaxy. Suddenly, the mysterious object dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the system's edge. The Cathari sensors immediately began analyzing the newcomer, and what they found confused them greatly. The vessel was unlike anything they had encountered. It was relatively small, about the size of a Cathari scout ship, but it blazed with energy signatures across multiple spectrums. Most puzzling was the intense electromagnetic radiation it emitted in the visible light range, wavelengths that the Cathari could barely perceive. "Sir, the vessel is broadcasting a signal," Velnara reported. "It appears to be some form of mathematical sequence, followed by... I'm not sure how to describe it. The signal contains massive amounts of visual data." Zethkar approached her station, his clawed feet silent on the metal deck. "Visual data?" "Yes, sir. Images encoded in light wavelengths. The sheer volume suggests a species that processes visual information as their primary sense." This concept was almost incomprehensible to the Cathari. While they possessed vision, it was a secondary sense, useful only in the dim twilight of their world. The idea of a species that depended primarily on sight seemed almost primitive to them. "Are they scanning our system?" Zethkar asked. "Not that we can detect, sir. Their sensors seem focused on the visible and near-infrared spectrums. They're essentially blind to our positions." Zethkar felt a mixture of curiosity and satisfaction. Another species had wandered into their territory, but like all the others, they would see nothing but empty space and a dim red star. The Cathari's shadow-based civilization was their ultimate protection. The alien vessel moved deeper into the system, its powerful engines leaving a trail of exotic particles that the Cathari sensors could easily track. It approached Nix Prime's orbit, but showed no signs of detecting the hidden defense platforms or the planet itself, which appeared as nothing more than a dark rock in the faint starlight. "They're conducting what appears to be a standard survey," Velnara observed. "Spectral analysis of the star, gravitational measurements, basic stellar cartography." "Let them look," Zethkar said with amusement. "They'll find nothing but another dead system orbiting a dying star. But as the hours passed, something unexpected happened. The alien vessel began moving in patterns that suggested they were aware of Nix Prime's presence, even though their scans showed no direct detection of the planet's surface features or artificial structures. "Sir, they're adjusting their trajectory again," Velnara said, her voice showing the first hints of concern. "They're moving as if they know exactly where our planet is." "Impossible. Our planet reflects virtually no light. To their sensors, it should be invisible." The alien ship moved into a closer orbit, and suddenly, new energy signatures began emanating from its hull. These weren't the bright visible light emissions they had detected before. These were different, operating in spectrums the Cathari were unfamiliar with. "Sir, I'm detecting some kind of active scanning array. The emissions are strange. They're using wavelengths beyond our normal sensor range." Zethkar's confidence began to waver. "Can you determine what they're looking for?" "I'm trying to analyze the signal pattern, but it's unlike anything we've encountered. It's as if they're illuminating things that should remain dark." Unknown to the Cathari, the human exploration vessel, Dawn Horizon, was equipped with advanced infrared and thermal imaging systems. While the Cathari had mastered the art of visual stealth, they had never considered that other forms of detection might reveal their carefully hidden civilization. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Dawn Horizon, studying the readouts from her science team. "What do you make of it, Dr. Martinez?" The chief science officer looked up from his console, excitement evident in his voice. "It's incredible, Captain. The planet is showing massive thermal signatures indicating artificial structures, but our visual spectrum scans show almost nothing. Whatever built these cities, they're designed to be invisible to conventional observation." "Inhabited?" "Definitely. We're detecting power sources, organized heat patterns consistent with urban centers, and what appears to be a vast underground network." "This is a thriving technological civilization, Captain." Captain Chen nodded thoughtfully. "And they probably think we can't see them." "That's my assessment. Their stealth technology is incredibly advanced for visible light spectrum, but they seem to have overlooked other forms of detection." Back on the Cathari defense platform, Zethkar watched in growing alarm as the alien vessel's scans became more focused and precise. Whatever technology they were using, it was penetrating the shadows that had protected his people for millennia. "Sir, I recommend we contact the Council immediately," Velnara said. "This species may pose a significant threat to our security." Zethkar's large eyes reflected the faint light from his console as he considered their options. For the first time in Cathari history, they had encountered a species that could see through their greatest defense, the eternal darkness of their world. "Prepare a coded transmission to the Council," he commanded, "and continue monitoring. We need to understand exactly what we're dealing with." As the human ship continued its scans, revealing more and more of the hidden Cathari civilization, both species stood on the brink of a first contact that would challenge everything the Cathari believed about the security of their shadowed realm. The emergency session of the Cathari High Council convened in the deepest chamber of the capital city, where the ancient traditions demanded that all critical decisions be made in absolute darkness. Council Elder Thisara's weathered voice echoed through the chamber as she addressed the assembled leaders. "The situation grows more dire by the hour," she announced. "Our orbital observers report that the alien vessel has mapped 17% of our surface installations and appears to be cataloging our defensive positions." Commander Zethkar stood before the council, his form barely visible even to Cathari eyes in the profound darkness. "Honored elders, I request permission to initiate contact protocols. This species clearly possesses detection capabilities we never anticipated." "Contact?" Elder Morthek's deep voice rumbled with disapproval. "Our survival has depended on isolation for 3,000 years. The galaxy is filled with aggressive species that wage constant war. Our shadows have been our salvation. But our shadows have been penetrated, Zethkar argued. Remaining hidden is no longer an option. High above the planet's surface, Captain Chen was conducting her own strategy session aboard the Dawn Horizon. The bridge hummed with activity as her crew analyzed the wealth of data they had collected about the mysterious civilization below. The thermal signatures are incredible, Dr. Martinez reported. This civilization has created one of the most sophisticated underground urban networks I've ever seen. The engineering required to build cities of this scale in perpetual darkness is remarkable. Any signs of military activity? Chen asked. Lieutenant Commander Torres looked up from the tactical station. That's where it gets interesting, Captain. We've identified what appear to be defensive platforms in orbit, but they're completely passive. No energy signatures, no active targeting systems. It's like they're powered down or using some kind of stealth technology. Or they're trying to remain invisible, Chen mused. Dr. Martinez, what's your assessment of their technological capabilities? Advanced, definitely. Possibly equal to or exceeding our own in certain areas. The power management required for their cities suggests sophisticated fusion or antimatter technology. But, Captain, there's something else. Chen raised an eyebrow. What is it? Their entire civilization appears to be adapted for low-light conditions. The infrared patterns suggest they use minimal artificial lighting, even in their largest urban centers. I think we're dealing with a species that evolved in darkness. This revelation sent a chill through the bridge crew. The implications were staggering. They had stumbled upon a civilization that had mastered stealth not through advanced technology alone, but through evolutionary adaptation to a dark world. Recommendations? Chen asked. Commander Torres spoke first. From a tactical standpoint, we should maintain our distance and report back to Earth Command. This level of sophisticated stealth capability could represent a significant threat. Dr. Martinez disagreed. Captain, with respect to the commander's concerns, this could be the scientific discovery of the century. A civilization that has achieved spaceflight while evolving in near-total darkness. The cultural and biological implications are enormous. Chen considered both perspectives. As an explorer, she was drawn to the scientific possibilities. As a military officer, she understood the potential dangers. But as a human being, she was curious about the intelligence behind such an remarkable civilization. Prepare a standard first contact protocol transmission, she decided. But keep our shields at full power and maintain a safe distance. Back in the Cathari Council chamber, the debate had grown heated. The younger council members, led by Science Administrator Kethnal, argued for immediate communication attempts. We have already been discovered, Kethnal insisted. Continuing to hide serves no purpose. Perhaps this species can be reasoned with. Elder Thisara's response carried the weight of centuries of Cathari tradition. Every species we have observed through our long-range sensors has shown the same pattern: expansion, conquest, resource exploitation. Why should these aliens be different? Because they stopped to study us instead of attacking, Kethanol replied. Their scans are thorough but non-invasive. They could have launched weapons by now if their intentions were hostile. Commander Zethkar supported this view. The alien vessel has maintained a respectful distance and has not attempted to penetrate our atmosphere or approach our defensive positions aggressively. Their behavior suggests scientific curiosity rather than military reconnaissance. The council was interrupted by an urgent communication from the orbital monitoring station. Lieutenant Velnara's voice crackled through the speakers with barely contained excitement. Council, we're receiving a transmission from the alien vessel. It appears to be a structured communication attempt using mathematical principles and basic physical constants. Elder Thisara's response was immediate. Do not respond. Maintain communication silence. But Kethanol stepped forward. Elder, the transmission includes what appears to be visual data, images showing their own species and their homeworld. They're trying to establish peaceful contact. The transmission that Captain Chen had authorized was humanity's standard first contact protocol. It began with prime numbers, progressed through basic mathematical concepts, and included a visual introduction to human civilization. The package contained images of Earth, human cities, and humans themselves engaged in peaceful activities. When the Cathari science team analyzed the visual data, the results stunned them. The images showed a world of incredible brightness, where the dominant species moved freely under the blazing light of their star. The humans appeared to navigate their environment primarily through vision, just as the Cathari relied on hearing and scent. "They live in constant daylight," Dr. Silvara whispered as she studied the decoded images. "Their entire world is illuminated. No wonder they can see through our shadows. They evolved in the light." Commander Zethkar reviewed the same data with a mixture of amazement and concern. The human cities were built above ground, stretching toward their bright sky. Their technology seemed focused on harnessing and manipulating light rather than avoiding it. "They're the opposite of us in every way," he observed. "Where we hide, they illuminate. Where we whisper, they broadcast. Where we adapt to darkness, they create light." The implications were profound. The Cathari had always assumed that advanced civilizations would naturally develop stealth and concealment technologies. But here was proof of a species that had achieved spaceflight through completely different evolutionary pressures. Elder Morthek studied the human images with deep concern. "Look at their cities, their transportation systems, their communication networks, everything designed for maximum visibility and connectivity. They are incapable of subtlety or concealment." "Perhaps that's not a weakness," Kethanol suggested. "Perhaps they've achieved security through strength rather than stealth." The debate continued for hours, with the council divided between those who saw opportunity in contact with this radically different species and those who viewed them as an existential threat to Cathari security. Meanwhile, aboard the Dawn Horizon, Captain Chen was growing impatient. The lack of response to their transmission was concerning, though not entirely unexpected. Many species required considerable time to decode and analyze first contact messages. "Captain," Dr. Martinez announced, "I'm detecting changes in the energy patterns around several of their orbital installations. It appears they're powering up systems that were previously dormant." Commander Torres immediately went to high alert. "Defensive systems? Possibly, but the energy patterns are consistent with communication arrays rather than weapon systems." Chen made her decision. "Prepare a follow-up transmission. This time include demonstrations of our night vision and infrared technologies. Show them that we can see in their darkness, but also show them why. Include footage of our nocturnal activities, night operations, and how we use these technologies for exploration rather than warfare." This second transmission would prove to be the turning point in human-Cathari relations, as it would demonstrate to the Shadow Dwellers that humanity's ability to see in the dark was not a threat, but a tool for understanding and exploring the universe's hidden wonders. The second human transmission changed everything for the Cathari. As their xenolinguistics team decoded the visual data, a completely new understanding of humanity emerged. The images showed human soldiers moving silently through Earth's darkest environments, scientists exploring deep ocean trenches where no light penetrated, and rescue teams operating in collapsed buildings during the night. Science Administrator Kethnal presented the findings to an emergency council session. "Fellow councilors, these beings are not simply creatures of light. They have developed remarkable abilities to function in darkness when necessary. Their night vision technology allows them to see thermal signatures, electromagnetic patterns, and structural details that even our enhanced senses cannot detect." Elder Thisara examined the decoded images with growing fascination. "They use darkness as we do, but as a tool rather than a way of life." "More than that," Kethnal continued. Their transmission includes footage of their space exploration programs. They actively seek out dark corners of the universe, investigating black holes, exploring the shadowed sides of planets, mapping the unlit regions between stars. They are not afraid of darkness. They embrace it as part of their quest for knowledge. Commander Zethkar had been studying the tactical implications. Their night vision capabilities would make them formidable allies. Imagine combining their detection technology with our stealth systems. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. For 3 millennia, the Cathari had believed that their mastery of shadows made them unique in the galaxy. Now they had encountered a species that could not only see through their concealment, but shared their appreciation for operating in darkness. Elder Morthek, the most conservative member of the council, slowly spoke. If we reveal ourselves to them, we reveal ourselves to the galaxy. There can be no return to our hidden existence. Perhaps it's time to stop hiding, Kethnal replied. We've learned much about the galaxy through passive observation, but we've contributed nothing to its development. These humans show us that strength and knowledge can coexist with exploration and openness. The debate that followed would reshape Cathari civilization. After heated discussion, the council reached a historic decision by a narrow margin. They would attempt formal contact with humanity. Aboard the Dawn Horizon, Captain Chen was analyzing long-range sensor data when her communication officer made an announcement that would change both civilizations forever. Captain, we're receiving a structured response transmission from the planet. It's using our own mathematical framework, but with additional complexity layers. The Cathari response was elegant in its sophistication. It acknowledged humanity's mathematical concepts, then expanded upon them with advanced theoretical frameworks that Earth's scientists had only begun to explore. The transmission included detailed star charts showing Cathari exploration routes through regions of space that human sensors could barely detect. Dr. Martinez was practically vibrating with excitement as he decoded the data. Captain, these beings have mapped gravitational anomalies and dark matter concentrations throughout this entire sector. Their understanding of space navigation in lightless regions is centuries ahead of our own. But the most significant part of the transmission was yet to come. The Cathari had included visual data of their own, but not in the conventional sense. Instead, they transmitted 3-dimensional acoustic maps of their cities, sonic landscapes that painted detailed pictures of their civilization through sound waves rather than light. When the human computers converted the acoustic data into visual representations, the bridge crew fell silent in amazement. The Cathari cities were works of art, with flowing organic architecture that followed sound patterns rather than visual aesthetics. Every surface was designed to carry acoustic information, creating a living symphony of functional beauty. It's incredible, Dr. Martinez breathed. They've created an entire civilization based on acoustic engineering. Their buildings themselves are musical instruments designed to carry information through sound. Captain Chen studied the data with growing admiration. Prepare a response transmission. Include our acoustic technologies, sonar systems, seismic sensors, audio communication arrays. Show them that we understand the value of sound-based exploration. The exchange of transmissions continued for several days, with each species sharing more advanced concepts. The humans demonstrated their night vision technologies in detail, showing how infrared and thermal imaging could reveal hidden structures and life forms. The Cathari responded with acoustic mapping techniques that could detect underground installations and hidden spacecraft through minute gravitational disturbances. Commander Zethkar found himself serving as the primary liaison between his people and the humans. His reports to the council grew increasingly positive as he studied humanity's exploration philosophy. They are not conquerors, he explained to the assembled elders. Their transmissions show a consistent pattern of peaceful contact with other species. When they encounter civilizations less advanced than themselves, they share knowledge rather than exploit resources. Elder Thisara had been reviewing the same data. But they are also warriors when necessary. Their transmissions include records of conflicts with aggressive species. Defensive conflicts, Kethnal corrected. They fight to protect themselves and their allies, not to expand territory or gather resources. The turning point came when Captain Chen made an unprecedented decision. She transmitted the complete specifications for human night vision technology, along with manufacturing instructions and theoretical frameworks. It was a gesture of trust that violated several Earth Command protocols, but Chen believed it was necessary to establish genuine communication. The Cathari response was equally dramatic. They transmitted detailed plans for their acoustic stealth systems, showing how they had learned to mask their activities from audio-based detection methods used by other galactic civilizations. "Captain," Commander Torres said with concern, "if other species gain access to this Cathari stealth technology, then we'll need to develop new detection methods," Chen replied. "But if we can establish a genuine alliance with these people, the benefits far outweigh the risks." The formal first contact occurred in the space between Nix Prime and its largest moon. The Cathari emerged from hiding for the first time in centuries, revealing sleek vessels that seemed to absorb light and sound. The contrast with the brightly lit human ship was stark, but both crews recognized the historic significance of the moment. The meeting between Captain Chen and Commander Zethkar took place aboard a specially configured shuttle, equipped with both human visual displays and Cathari acoustic interfaces. The two officers stood in a chamber where light and sound created a shared environment, each species contributing their unique perspective to the space. "Your people have lived in shadows for millennia," Chen observed, studying the elegant Cathari commander through her night vision display. "Yet you've built one of the most sophisticated civilizations we've encountered." Zethkar's response came through both acoustic vibrations and translated text displays. "Your people bring light to the darkest corners of the universe. We have much to learn from each other." The alliance that formed between humanity and the Cathari would reshape galactic politics. The combination of human detection technology and Cathari stealth capabilities created unprecedented advantages in space exploration and defense. Together, they could navigate the most dangerous regions of space, explore previously inaccessible phenomena, and establish contact with other hidden civilizations. But perhaps more importantly, the partnership demonstrated that two completely different evolutionary paths could not only coexist, but complement each other. The humans learned to appreciate the subtle beauty of acoustic architecture and sound-based navigation, while the Cathari discovered the power of illumination and visual communication. Years later, joint human-Cathari exploration teams would become legendary throughout the galaxy. Operating with perfect coordination in both light and darkness, they uncovered ancient ruins in the depths of dead systems, made contact with dozens of previously unknown species, and pushed the boundaries of galactic exploration further than any single civilization had managed alone. The galaxy learned that humanity's greatest strength was not their night vision technology, but their willingness to see beyond the obvious and find value in the hidden corners of existence. And the Cathari discovered that their shadows became even more powerful when combined with the light of genuine friendship and mutual respect. The partnership proved that in a universe full of differences, the greatest discoveries come not from conquest or dominance, but from the courage to step out of the shadows and into the light of cooperation.